all around us, sing forever young, singing songs underneath the sun. Let's rejoice.
Hello and welcome to another Melbourne Victory Supporters Preview. Today we look ahead to Friday night's game against the Central Coast Mariners at Amy Park, and it should be a great game. And Danny, what the hell are you doing?
Mate, I'm sorry, we're fresh off 2 consecutive games where we conceded 4 goals. Mate, I mean, really, I'm not in the mood.
Sit down right now.
I don't want to, you Maltese bastard. I'm sorry your captain is Mifsud, but I'm sorry, I've got better things to do, like singing, waving flag.
Put down those chopsticks and sit down right now.
How did you know I had chopsticks? This is bullshit, right? This is bullshit. I'm done with this show.
Hey guys, sorry about that drama. Looks like we won't be having Danny today. Welcome to another matchday preview for Melbourne Victory supporters. Well, we will have Danny today. Welcome.
Is that only because I have nothing better to do? Alright.
Well, took your time.
Yeah. Sorry about the racist comments before about Mifsud. It is, of course, racism round here in the Hyundai.
None of that this weekend, eh?
No, none of that. None of that. You son of a bitch. Only Maltese people would understand that. Let's get rips into it, guys. I am Danny Ratner-Pinter.
And I'm Bryce Clayton.
We have to look forward to our next match. Like I said, just another bit of a tantrum before. We did just have 2 consecutive matches where we've conceded 4 goals in the space of about 3 days.
I think so. I think it's about 8 goals within 1.5 halves of football.
Yeah, it's not too good, but we now look forward to the reigning champions, the Central Coast Mariners. Of course, it's going to be a huge clash. We had a 0-0 draw earlier in the season, then a 3-1 victory over in Gosford. Now we have them at home, fresh off the big match against, well, the derby, big match against Hart. How are we going to go into this one, bros?
It's going to be difficult. We're going to be still a little bit tired, I reckon, and it's going to be pretty demoralising after that 4-0 loss. But
yeah, take us through the 4-0 loss, by the way.
It was pretty bad. All us Victory fans rocked up thinking we were going to do pretty well, but
yeah,
Hart just outclassed us. I mean, we were... Everyone keeps thinking that we're tired because we're in Champions League, but you shouldn't be losing 4-0 regardless. That's pretty bad, especially in a derby.
It's pretty bad. Opening goal was, of course, from Orlando Engler. Yeah, he's 6'8" Dutchman who's been injured most of the season. He had a pretty decent performance there. Then, of course, a former Victory player scored, didn't he?
Mate Dugan's is just running down the wing and he pops in a cross and doesn't get much luckier than that, really.
Is Lawrence Thomas to blame?
I wouldn't say. I would just say it's a fluke. You know, you're going to score that 1 in a million times and somehow he managed to put that in and it was 2-0 and really demoralised our hopes. And of course that red card to Nick Ansell. What did you make of that, Danny?
Look, there was a ball going forward. David Williams and Nick Ansell were sort of tussling at it together. Lawrence Thomas comes forward, actually takes out Nick Ansell, as we can see in the replay right here. Obviously, I think most pundits would actually say that no, there was no real foul in that most of the time. Maybe he pulled his shirt, as was David Williams, but I mean, red card, of course, it would come if it's a direct goal-scoring opportunity for David Williams. I don't think that was the case. He didn't have control of the ball. I don't think it was a real blatant foul in the first place. It did look like somewhat violent conduct because of Thomas absolutely taking out Ansell, but they were teammates. I didn't see anyone. No one really took out David Williams. He had a swing with his boot and he went down. So terrible call from Stebro Jorowski. Is that his name?
Stebro Jorowski.
Something like that. Bold referee. We don't like you here at MVS, but. Better improve. So take us through the second half, 3rd and 4th goal, one from Williams and the other from Harry Kuehl, out of all people.
Yeah, well, that was pretty disappointing, and it was pretty late on the game. We already knew we'd pretty much lost from then. Yeah. 2-0 down, 10 men. It was always going to be hard, but yeah. David Williams has been in pretty good form lately, and he was there in the right place at the right time again to put it home. 10
goals for the season is Davey Williams. Socceroos contention, I'd say, as is probably Harry Kuehl after this strike from out of the box. Quite impressive, even as a Victory fan. I've always sort of had a bit of a soft spot for Harry Kuehl, but I mean, you can't deny him Socceroos contention after a strike like that, surely.
Oh, well, you know, he's a little bit past it, I think, and Ange, being the coach of the Socceroos now, he's going to want to bring in some young blood, and Harry Kuehl's a bit on the older side, so I don't think that he has much of a chance. I mean, he's going to perform very well.
Well, I don't think he's quite in the same boat as Lucas Neal, but he's probably in the same boat as Archie Thompson. We'll see if the senior boys who are performing alright in the A-League can get through. So that was the derby. Now, of course, we have to look forward to the Central Coast Mariners, Bryce. You've done a bit of research, as always, with our domestic competition. Tell us about the match coming up.
It's going to be a huge match. I mean, both teams are playing for 3rd spot at the moment, only 4 points away from the Wanderers in 2nd. I mean, a top 2 spot is what you aim for every season. I mean, it's going to be very difficult for both of us because of Asian Champions League, of course. The Mariners losing by 2 goals, and of course us as well against Guangzhou.
Well, the ironic thing is they had FC Seoul, the champions, over in Seoul, and of course we had Guangzhou Evergrande in Guangzhou, China. So both teams had the Asian champions and lost by 2 goals.
Exactly.
I think we were both embarrassed in our own respect, but at least we put up an almighty fight with, of course, Pablo Contreras' goal and Leigh Broxham's absolute bullet. So, given the circumstances, how do you think the game's going to go about?
I think it's going to be tough. Well, it's a hard one to pick, I think.
Okay.
Because both teams are going to be still tired and preparing for Asian Champions League games next Wednesday as well, of course. And the Mariners backed up pretty well from the Asian Champions League game, knocking off Sydney FC the other day 2-1. And we weren't able to do the same, but keeps us in 5th position at the moment, which isn't really good enough for a club of this calibre.
You're right. Okay, well, now we have to look into our feature story for this week. It is the rivalry that is between 2 original A-League clubs, the Melbourne Victory and the Central Coast Mariners.
Melbourne Victory versus Central Coast Mariners. This is one of the biggest rivalries of ours in recent times, with our inability to beat the Mariners a huge talking point. Our last win was the last game against the Mariners a few weeks ago, where we beat them 3-1 at Blue Tongue Stadium. Last time out, James Troisi was the hero with a double, and Archie Thompson popped up with one, which sent our players into raptures. Since our last meeting with the Mariners, we've had mixed emotions throughout our games. A win against Mongtong sent us into the Asian Champions League, and we followed that up with a strong win against Adelaide United at home. After this, we've had 2 disappointing results, losing to Guangzhou Evergrande 4-2, and of course the Heart last weekend 4-0. These games were very tough, and of course we put in a very good performance against Guangzhou, but could not hold on. With goals from Pablo Contreras set up by a Costa Barbarousas volley, a Leigh Broxham volley sending Victory 2-0 up at half time, and our fans at home mental. Before the last match with the Mariners, we had gone 5 without a win against them. It was a strong performance in Gosford, but we're going to have to back that up with a solid performance at Amy Park this weekend, rebounding from 3 games in 7 days last week, and coming off a 4-0 loss against the Heart. This will be the start of 3 games in 8 days for the Victory, and it's going to be very tough to keep consistency, as we've seen in the last week. Before our last meeting, we had suffered a 5-game winless streak against the Mariners. Our performance in Gosford was definitely memorable, but it will be a much more difficult task this time out. We have come off 3 games in 7 days, and after our 4-0 loss to the Heart and another 3 games coming in the next 8 days, this result could not be more important. Our last 5 outings against this opposition have resulted in 1 win, 2 draws and 2 losses. In recent times, they have very much had the wood on us until that last match, and if last performance is anything to take by, we should have a great game. Ko versus Reddy, Bosnar versus Pablo, Guy versus Stajowski, Archie versus Simon, Kevin versus Moss. It's the North Terrace against the Sauce Bottles. Who will take the points in this clash for 3rd place?
And you're a married man these days?
Yes, I am.
Enjoy the wedding?
It was good. It was very good.
Is it fair to say you're punching above your weight?
Oh,
A bit rough.
She's pretty good looking.
no comment.
Broxy, how are you coping?
Thanks for that one.
Traveling at the moment, and what are you guys looking to do to make sure that you don't encounter fatigue?
Well, I suppose it's just ticking all the boxes, doing all the right things you would normally do, but it's I suppose all the little extra things, and the travel's been good, and we've got a few extra staff that have been phenomenal for us, that are on call 24/7, and they're making sure we get the best of everything possible. Yeah,
and with John Buck coming up next week, what are you guys doing to plan against them when they had a tough 3-0 win over Yokohama?
I suppose we're addressing the game on Friday first. I think all the staff would have been watching those games, and they'll have that in the back of their mind. But for us, Friday night's a massive game for us, and come Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that we'll look at that game.
Take it as a
No, thanks, Natalie. Enough said.
She's just really hot.
Have you seen her in person?
I just see your Instagram photo. Okay. Catch her sleeping.
There Thank you so much for that feature, Bryce. Always good to have a very good in-depth look at our opposition before the match comes about.
Yeah, no worries. It's always a bit of fun.
Of course. Now we have to look into recent form for both teams. We've been very inconsistent. We had so many games where we've been conceding so many goals. 4 goals to Hart, 4 goals to Guangzhou, 3 goals to Adelaide United. The list does go on. It's not the best form. We did get 3 points against United.
Yep.
But the good thing is the Mariners are also in average form. Of course, I think they had 5 losses on the trot. They did defeat Sydney FC, which did benefit us on the table temporarily. I mean, with their recent form, of course, we look back to their loss to the Brisbane Roar over in Suncorp Stadium. It wasn't a very impressive one. Of course, Miles Stajovski scored from the spot, but it was Enrique and Bersat Berisha who scored a heartbreaker in the 90th minute in front of 16,000.
How many times have we said that about the...
Bersat Berisha, mate, Bersat is welcome at victory anytime.
Exactly.
And he's coming our way, and I'm really excited for that. We haven't actually talked about that. Bersat coming our way should be pretty good, yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to have to feed him some good balls through, though, but yeah, got to find some form.
Yeah, feed Bersat, that'll become the new hashtag. Then, of course, it was against us. At Gosford, it was James Troisi scoring 2 goals.
And Archie Thompson popped up with another one. And
yeah, decent performance out at Central Coast Stadium, or Blue Tongue Stadium.
Blue Tongue Stadium.
Of course, Beanie scoring that first goal. He is someone that we do have to look out for. Looking back at our previous clash, what would you take from it? How do you think the teams have changed since, and how will this match go about at Amy Park?
Yeah, well, both teams are in a little bit of inconsistent form. You know, you got the victory. We've had some pretty good form until the last 2 results against Guangzhou and Melbourne Heart. Before that, we had an undefeated streak for about, I think it was 3 games, 4 games, something like that.
Yep,
So that was pretty good. But yeah, the Mariners, they've been in pretty terrible form. Since they played us, they have had 3 losses to Adelaide United, Wellington Phoenix, and then, of course, FCCO.
Well, let's go over the Wellington Phoenix game. They were absolutely demolished at home, at Blue Tongue Stadium, in front of a very unimpressive 6,000 people. Kenny Cunningham, Carlos Fernandez, Hoysigens, I think he's one of the top scorers in the A-League.
He is.
And Jeremy Brocky. Phoenix, with only Merrick, absolutely ripping the competition apart. The Heart and the Phoenix were jokes at the start. They've been ripping everyone together.
It has been really strange, because the bottom teams, Adelaide United at one stage, Wellington Phoenix, and of course the Heart, all had long periods without wins, and were like right at the base of the table.
Yeah, and now
all of a sudden they have all hit massive streaks. I mean, Wellington Phoenix have only lost 1 of their last, I don't even know how many. It's been extremely good form, and the Heart are in the same boat, and Adelaide United, of course, have shot up to a 3rd position. So
yeah, it's unreal. Now, William Gallus's Perth Glory, if you don't mind, is on the bottom of the table with 21 points.
Yeah.
And, of course, now we look at the table here, the Central Coast Mariners on 30 points. Melbourne Victory also on 30 points, but they're only beating us by the 1 goal in the goal difference.
Exactly, so...
I mean, that really reflects how we've been playing, isn't it? I mean, we used to have a pretty decent record before we conceded about 10 goals in 2 matches.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't do us too well, did it?
No, definitely not. I mean, the 3-0 loss to the Roar and the 4-0 loss to Heart were much better.
Of course, the Mariners then defeated Sydney FC at home. It was quite an impressive victory, I think. Of course, Kim scored a very impressive free kick. He's definitely one you have to look out for, in my opinion. You know, former Korean international. I think he scored in the AFC Champions League final a couple of years ago. And of course, Mitchell Duke, a soccerer. You've got to look out for these guys. Very dangerous team, the Central Coast Mariners.
They have some quality strikers.
Of course, on their day they can get the result. I'm just hoping, with no ACL midweek, that we can also perform to our absolute maximum, get points on the board, and actually try and battle for our 3rd spot again.
Exactly, and Kevin would have hit him hard this week, because that performance against the Heart was just not good enough, and especially with ACL, it's going to be difficult, but you can't cop 4-0 losses and just stand up and, you know, shake it off. Okay, so let's have a look at the reasons for each game. Each team should win the match. I'm always going to play devil's advocate here, so please tell me why the Melbourne Victory can win the match. Well, I think that the return of, you know, Tommy Rogic last weekend, he didn't get that much of a chance, but...
Well, he did have a big 6'8" man marking him, and his height was pretty much just made irrelevant there. So.
Yeah, exactly, and Tommy Rogic is not a short bloke, he's pretty tall, as you said, you met him at the Wongtong game.
Yeah, you're right, and look, I mean, I guess you look at the Melbourne Victory, I mean, he's about our only tall player. Mariners do have Eddie Bosnar, of course, who had a terrific, stellar career in South Korea. So there are some international players, you know, they are the championship club, not the team. And they're starting to rebuild that championship team, I think. I think if we continue with this what is our formation, 4-2-2-2?
4-2-2-2, yeah.
I think that formation should work quite well if we execute it well. But Kevin Muscat just keeps saying that he doesn't want to go to Plan B. He just wants to improve with Plan A, and that's what he's been trying to do when we've been copying 4-goal losses to big teams. So those would be the major reasons why we couldn't win. But of course, Matt Simon, Marcos Flores, and of course the very ever so dangerous Kim Sung Young, and let's not forget Isaka Cernak, the man of many clubs, will be a big impact.
I think he's had more jerseys in this league than goals.
See what you did there. But irregardless, my pick will be the Melbourne victory for once. I think it'll be a 3-2 win. I think we will concede a lot because we haven't been in good form.
Defence is looking pretty shaky lately.
Matt Simon and a beanie should impress, I'd say. But I think Archie, Troy, maybe Tommy Rogic should get his first goal. I'd love to see that against his old side.
Definitely, I reckon that it's going to be a 2-1 win to the victory as well. I reckon it's about time that we had a game where we don't concede too many goals.
Of course. Now let's look towards player futures. There's been some rumours in the rumour mill. Of course, Guy Finkler might be on the out. How much do you know about that, and what's your opinion?
I don't know too much about it, but there's quite a few rumours floating around that he'll be gone at the end of the season. That would be a huge loss for our club because he has been an outstanding performer this season.
Yeah.
Coming back from that huge injury that he had, we're going to have to try and hold on to him because he's, if you're losing the likes of Finkler, of course, James Troisi on loan, Tommy Rogic on loan as well, and Adama Traore hasn't signed a contract yet either, so there are quite a few that need to be re-signed.
Do you think the fact that he hasn't been picked for ACL matches just yet has anything to do with it?
Not particularly. I think there's the 3 international spots, and Costa Barbaros, I think that Kevin Muscat rates him because he's played him quite a bit, and he's been a quality player, so we'll see how we go. Okay,
now Lawrence Thomas versus Nathan Coe. Who are you going to pick if you're Kevin Muscat for the Mariners game?
I'd say Nathan Coe. You can't go past him. He's had some pretty good form. I mean, he had that one howler against the Guangzhou Evergreen, but besides that, he's been pretty consistent all season, and he's had those 2, well, maybe 3 or 4 bad games, but you got to stick some faith in him. He's a quality keeper.
Lawrence didn't do himself any justice against the Heart. That was a heartbreaker. We're not going to get too much into that. But of course, now we have to talk about the fans, which is what powers the game, as the Hyundai A-League loves to promote. We are a club like no other, as the club has, with their promotional values have been doing. But the fans have been a bit of strife as of late. League-wide, the red and black block of Western Sydney Wanderers recently had a bit of a situation against Ulsan Hyundai, and of course they let off a flare, and Ante Kovic couldn't say anything. They conceded a goal. As a result, they've been banned from using any musical instruments, any oversized flags, pretty much everything that helps them congregate to become one of the best powers of fans in the Hyundai A-League.
Yeah, definitely.
They are very similar circumstances and situations that have been applied upon the North Terrace of the Melbourne victory.
Well, it's a difficult one. The RBB, it was a pretty stupid thing to let off a flare and help your team concede a goal. That was
Although let's look back to last Saturday. Danny is here with a bit of a cut in with Bryce in the corner of us being fully sick, in the terrace, bro, letting off flares, but that wasn't us, I swear. Don't ban me for 5 years, please, Ian Robson, I beg of you. But still, we need the fans to power the boys.
Exactly.
I think we spoke to James Troisi about this quite a few weeks ago, and he mentioned that it is a big high for them, and it was great to have everything back congregated against the Heart. But it looks like there will be no real active support for the remainder of the season, both the RBB and the North Terrace, so it's quite disappointing.
It is quite disappointing because, it does add atmosphere to the game, and we've seen it. Saturday night, despite the loss, despite the poor performance, we still, the NT were up and down.
Let's have a look at the footage that we did film on the weekend. Of course, we did upload an 11 or a 12-minute video to Melbourne Victory Supporters YouTube channel, MVS Media, and we were able to see the terrific scenes that were on Swan Street during the march to the North Terrace, mixed with South Terrace and members alike, and walked pretty much straight through traffic. Let some flares off in the tunnels, and really let the Heart fans know that there is only truly one team in Melbourne. We might have lost on the field, but we'll never lose in the stands, unless, of course, we have 3 points revoked for a flare. But that's beside the point. Still terrific showing from the fans. And they're just as much as part of the club. We are just as much part of the club as any of the players and playing staff and club members are. So I think it's really important that every member of the club comes to an agreement, and I'm not sure if that can happen with certain conservatism and opinions and standpoints from certain individuals.
Well, it has been a tough season in that regard, but hopefully in the off-season we can get some stuff sorted out and just continue to support the boys in thick and thin and figure it out from there.
That's just it. Well, we do have no more time here on the Melbourne Supporters preview. Hopefully we're not looking towards another loss against the Mariners. I think at Amy Park we should get a result.
As you said, 3-2 prediction for you and 2-1 for me. Yeah,
that's what we're looking forward to. We appreciate you guys watching as always. It's a pleasure having you guys on our channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're getting many more views, and of course don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We do have prizes coming up. We're nearing on 8,000 likes.
Once we hit 8,000 likes, I have a surprise coming up, big prize. So get out there and get sharing.
Of course, we appreciate you joining us, and you take care, guys. You've been watching the Melbourne Supporters preview.